I'm known as Alan. My family name is Spenceley.
My name's John Spenceley, also known as Freeman John Spenceley.
I was born in Ontario, but my mother and her people are from around here, Sackville, New Brunswick. I am a freeman on the land. I'm a sovereign citizen of a sovereign nation.
A freeman is a individual who has separated their spiritual being from their contractual person responsibilities. These are anything in relation to commercial ventures.
A freeman stands in common law with no involvement in commerce. If he wishes to get involved in commerce, he'll do it through some agency which in and of itself is a fiction.
To become a freeman on the land, you have to study somewhat about the law. You have to be aware of what lawful and legal difference, what the difference between lawful and legal is.
When they come and arrest you, the first thing they do is they tell you that you're entitled to retain and instruct counsel, which in and of itself shouldn't be rejected out of hand because you can get some good feedback from them, but don't let them represent you. That puts you in their jurisdiction. As soon as you let someone else represent you that is part of the law society, they've got you. Let's put it in this perspective. A person is a distinctly different individual from a sentient self.
A person is not a human being. They're a fictional entity with certain commercial attributes attributed to it.
But they're ascribed to the person, not to the human being. The man, the breath of life in living waters, the soul.
The person is basically just a fictional piece of paper that represents your ability to do commercial trade.
The courts have twisted so many words that you can no longer use simple phrases like a human being, because now the human being has been defined as another form of person. The person being rooted in the word persona from the Greek root, which means a mask, a role that is played. This is how you are treated, as a fictional entity that needs to be dealt with because you have no wits about you, no ability to control your own choices. The world you live in right now, you're a ward of the court or a child of the state. Your competence to run your own affairs is assumed to be deficient to the point where you need representatives and employees and so on to do the work for you, while you are taken care of by child protection services, educational system, hospitals, whatever institution they happen to stick you in, and for whatever reason they happen to give for putting you in the institution in the first place. Let's give you the hierarchy. The supremacy of God stands over everything beneath it. The individual stands second. His word, his bond, his honor stand third, and that's rooted in contract and contract law. Then comes common law. Then comes something called admiralty law, maritime law. Admiralty law is purely commerce. Let's just make a distinction between law and those statutes and acts which have been given the force of law and act in the color of law. Law comes from the prime mover, if you want to call it that. Some people shy away from the word God. The prime mover is best described as a vector. And when you examine what a vector is, that's force and direction. Well, the force is love and the direction is truth. And right now we're generally, as a race, the human being has been distracted from that proper vector, traveling the road of truth, onto perverting their love and applying it to money.
So what we have here is we have a division of societies in the same country, a lawful and a legal system.
People got to realize that man has set down roots all over the globe, and In reaching this point, he's established some mighty fine institutions, but the problem is those institutions are in the hands of very corrupt people.
I think it may become necessary that some people in the government may have to be charged so that we don't have to disband the whole government. None of us wants that. It's played a great role in this country for a long time, and it just needs to be the office is properly filled by people of lawful mind, not dull or gold-filled minds.
What's called efficiency right now is greed. People are making choices they shouldn't be because they can throw the blame off on, oh, it's my responsibility to the corporate, to the bottom line. They're just people who are capitalizing on the divisions that they can fuel between us.
Now, my brother has cancer and was given 2 years to live 3.5 years ago. Now, despite the chemotherapy, which is poison in itself, immediately upon taking the hemp oil solution, his cancer immediately started to go into recession and shrink. You could, within a week or so, visibly see an indentation where there had been a lump. My brother and I, specifically I, were arrested for cultivation of marijuana. What happened is, of course, we went to court and they told us, well, geez, guys, you're all going to go to jail for 7 to 10 years for cultivation of marijuana because you tried to save somebody's life. Well, guess what? We didn't think that was right. So we did a little searching online, and lo and behold, we find these whole class of people that are interested in the law and not interested in the legal system. Since December 10th, 1997, has been a done deal. There hasn't been even a legal statute in place since December 10th, 1997, the Terry Parker case, judged by Judge Barry Stryker. It's been bouncing around through the courts, kicked in and out of court. From what I understand, in Ontario alone, there's about 1,500 cases pending, and it's all to do with the money. It's not just the money that they get from the cases, it's the money they're getting from their pharmaceutical industry combating all these cases. I came by this movement as a lawful method of extrapolating a peaceful method to combating our dis-ease with the legal system in Canada.
I think the New World Order has overlooked the fact that there's been hippies around since the 60s, and before that were the zoot suiters and the wobblies.
For everybody's side that I've seen on the Freeman side, we're all interested in lawful, peaceful demonstration. The only people that are talking violence are the government. I think within the next 3 years, things will get worse and worse and worse. So we hit at a point where we have to change, and somewhere about 3 years from now, it'll start getting better for the rest of our days. I don't know what the result is going to be, but hopefully it will result in a much more solidified and better country for all. For anybody that doubts any authenticity of the hemp oil, I'm sure we all have sick people in our lives, whether it's cancer or some other type of sickness. The hemp oil seems to cure all of these things. As I understand it, from a lawful standpoint, we've already won this case because they didn't respond, and we've won by estoppel and acquiescence. The case was dismissed, and they owe us over $500,000, $250,000 of which will be going to the Phoenix Tears entity to save people's lives.